Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I am your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of Jake's Take with Jakes-Jake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. Now, if you're listening to this on any of our audio platforms, please download this episode. Please give us a 5-star rating and listen to more episodes. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to welcome today's guest. She is an actress who many people know from her roles as Major Carrie Farris of Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Caroline from ABC's Will Trent and the voice of Essi Daven from The Witcher, The Sirens of the Deep. But she's also a filmmaker and co-founder of Two Kids with a Camera production company. She's also the vice president of the Women of Color Filmmakers. And as of this recording, she has over 17,000 Instagram followers. So please help me welcome Christina Wren to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Christina, thank you so much for taking time on your schedule to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Awesome. So let's get started. So when did you get interested in performing, and how did that passion evolve and desire to pursue a career in the entertainment industry?
I started as a kid. I did children's theater, growing up, and it just was always a passion of mine. It wasn't something that I grew up thinking I could do professionally. I didn't grow up near the industry or anything like that. But it just kind of kept picking up. I think my senior year of high school, I did 11 shows, something like that. It's just like staying busy. And I had gotten into a summer program that was sort of a like pre-college theater program. And it was the first time that I did something more intensive than just kind of doing the musicals and, the things in the community. And I really loved it. I really loved going deeper with the work. And my parents, thankfully, were very supportive of me. I was at the time, looking into colleges, and they were the ones really, I didn't think it was a sustainable career option. And so I thought I would major in something else, and maybe minor in theater for fun, or, the major kept changing. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll double major in something else in theater. And eventually, they encouraged me to really focus on this and follow my passions. So I'm incredibly lucky and blessed in that department to have, supportive folks. And then that was really the first time for me, I started thinking about it more seriously. And even so, it took me years. I went to NYU for theater and film, but I just thought I'm going to study and then I'm going to go home and maybe work at a community theater. My brain really struggled to see the possibilities beyond that. So I feel like I'm a little bit of a late bloomer in that regard, but I'm grateful, to be on this path and to have had the support of my community along the way. And yeah, here we are.
Absolutely. And I got to say this, as a fellow, I did theater from 6th grade to 12th grade. So it is always amazing for middle school and high school, especially. It was one of my most important things as well. And I self-relate to late bloomer because I started podcasting in 2019 and I started blogging in 2011. So I was pretty late to the game, but here we are.
Yeah, you're doing great. You've had how many episodes? You've done a trillion? Yeah.
Not a trillion. Recently, we just published our 350th episode with Terry Fader.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But I got to say this. I'm a huge DC fanboy. When I saw you, I was like, oh my God, yes. So I saw you as Major Carrie Farris in Man of Steel. And then, of course, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. So what were some of your highlights from your time in the DC Extended Universe?
everything. It was so great. It was so wonderful. Zack Snyder is amazing as a director and as a person, like just a lovely human being. Made me feel really welcome on set. And, that trickles down. His crew is so lovely and wonderful and gifted. And it was just, wonderful actors I got to work with. And then it's just cool, right? You're just like, we had, hundreds of, actual military personnel working as our background actors. There's explosions, there's Superman flying above you and Feora and green screen. And, playing make-believe for a living at its best. It's like all your inner child's dreams coming to life. And I had been a huge Superman fan growing up. And so, I was just having to like pinch myself daily that I got to be at all related to that universe and that world. And it just was a really fun, cool experience. And, on a project like that with, such a huge budget, you can really take your time. And so, on both, but I remember especially in Batman v Superman getting to really like spend a little more time on those scenes and like dig deeper. And it's funny, you might not feel my character as much in that film, especially where it comes kind of in the middle, but it was just like, again, just very cool to work on it and very cool to be, dealing with aliens and villains and just all of again, it's like your inner child just comes to life. So it was very cool.
Absolutely. And I always be grateful for Man of Steel, and especially since we have another Superman coming. I do have some higher expectations with this one.
Yeah, nice. I'm actually, okay, you'll love this. I am at Trilith Studios right now in Georgia. I'm in my co-working space, and this is where they filmed that Superman movie. So,
oh, wow.
So I'm in the landscape, but it's cool. It's very cool.
Which is perfect. So we got to leave this out. We got to leave the DC Extended Universe, but and talk and dive into the House of Mouse, because you are also play Caroline in one of the red hot series of ABC right now, Will Trent. So how is the role of Caroline similar or different from any past role that you portrayed?
Well, it's funny. I've thought about it. Caroline and Carrie Farris from Man of Steel, they both are assistants to these really high-powered people. And in that position, they would have to be very sharp themselves and have some pretty major career ambitions. And they both also are used to like bring a little levity here and there into these more serious environments and worlds. So to me, those two characters actually, they're kind of one and the same in different worlds, one is military, one is coming up at the GBI, but on their P's and Q's and yeah, supporting these like really powerful bosses. And so it's cool.
That's amazing. However, you also have another franchise that you're a part of, and this time you get to use your voice to play to those strengths. And because you enjoy the Witcher franchise, and voiced Essi Daven in the Netflix animated series The Witcher, The Sirens of the Deep. So what was it like because you've been on multiple sets before, but now you're in a recording studio. So what does that, is the energies are different, or what's the story with that?
It's super different. I mean, like you said, you're totally alone in a studio, and then, being directed by the creative team, which is super cool. And so that you're just going like beat by beat. And it's interesting because you don't hear or see the other actors work. Like maybe an ADR they will, and when they're trying to, match some bits. But, so you're really just kind of going moment by moment and trying to mine it for all it's worth, and just, give the creative team what they're looking for. You're really trusting that they are weaving it together, that they're informing you based off of the intention of the creative team and what the other actors have done. And so, yeah, it's just a very intimate experience.
And not only is it intimate, but however, with this one, it's a little more of a horror-based one, because it's outside of like with DC. With DC, it's Metropolis. It's like, yes, it's a fantasy world. With Will Trent, it's a little based in reality. But however, with The Witcher, it's far beyond. Like it's like 100 degrees opposite of all of them.
Yeah, it's true. I've existed in a lot of, film worlds that are very kind of true to life, right? They're larger than life, but playing a military officer, playing someone at the GBI, those are grounded worlds. The parts of the stories I was in are very grounded. So it's cool. I mean, I loved getting to sing. I was a musical theater kid, and so getting to sing as Essi was so fun. And I loved learning the mermaid language. That was one of my favorite parts, and it's so cool how they create the language, and so that was really fun for me.
And not a lot of actors get to do that because, like, if you talk to people on Star Trek, they talk about learning about the Vulcan language and the famous Klingon language. Plus, now you have, and also with the Harry Potter universe, you have the famous magical spells and everything. But it must be so different to run into an actor that's done fantasy work and does talk about like foreign languages, especially fantasy languages.
Yeah, it's cool. They have, real linguists who create the language, and the sing-songy nature of it, and sort of what languages they're being inspired by. And it's really cool. It's really cool what they do.
Awesome. So what have been some of the challenges that you face staying in our industry, and how have you overcome those obstacles?
In many ways, this career path is just like an ongoing challenge, right? Because it's job to job, it's gig to gig, continually trying to build in a shifting landscape, and as you learn and grow and transform. And so, I mean, I think that a big, maybe the sort of like overall challenge is maintaining a sense of self, and being able to work through the disappointments, because there's a lot of things that don't go your way, while also just constantly like renewing your love of the craft and renewing your abilities, like, just staying sharp, continuing to challenge yourself and learn and grow and find community, to get to kind of continue to play with, because that's where the joy and the passion is. So whether it's like a local theater thing, or doing readings, or there's just a lot of ways you can kind of engage in your community, but keeping that passion, keeping that joy alive, and the sense of purpose, for being a storyteller, and that role in a larger sense in our community and in our culture. I think all those things can kind of help ground an actor.
Absolutely. And like you said before, I definitely relate to you because I had a lot of pitches reject me. I had a lot of major names in our industry reject my podcast. But the thing is, you have to keep going. You have to you have to keep in building your craft. And I'm very grateful for the opportunities that come my way.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And that's how you get to 300 some episodes, right? Grit. You don't give up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Not just 300, but like maybe, hopefully my end goal, maybe 1,000. Try to get to 1,000.
There it is. You will. You definitely will. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So you are part of the Women of Color's Filmmakers, Vice President, co-founder of its annual WOCF Film Lab. So how has the WOCF Film Lab helped foster community in the film industry? Foster diversity, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, foster diversity and community, but those things often go hand in hand, And so we, Women of Color Filmmakers, runs a lot of programs. And so some are nurturing screenwriters, some are nurturing cinematographers, directors, et cetera, et cetera. So we're trying to both create that community and also offer, training to women in our community. And our film lab is our most intensive program. It's essentially like a little mini film school. It's totally free. And we bring in 12 women per cohort, and they come in with an idea for an original short film. And then we bring in a bunch of incredible volunteers from Hollywood. I mean, we have amazing directors, writers, composers, producers, and they come in and teach workshops, as well as everyone gets a mentor that they meet with twice, once during pre-production and once during post. And, and we try to, it's kind of matchmaking. So if someone has a lot of special effects, we might link them up with someone who, has done sci-fi. If someone has, real challenges with their cinematography. They have big, bold ideas. We've brought in Larry Fong. We've brought in just really incredible people to come and offer their insights. And then we guide them through the production of their short film and do a screening in the end for industry professionals. And it's been huge. And there's a range, you have some people who come in super green and their short film is going to come out lovely and wonderful, but still on the early stages of their career. And you have some people who are a little further in their career, but maybe it's their first time actually directing. And they come out with these really phenomenal pieces that have launched them into other programs and other jobs. And then last year we started a 201 program, which is for people who've come through our lab to do kind of higher level classes and training and come out with a second film. And I have to say, I was blown away by their films. I was emotional just seeing there was nothing about them that felt amateur. It was just y'all are ready for prime time. They worked out whatever kinks in the lab that they maybe needed to work out, even if they came out with, again, an awesome product. These second films that they made, pristine, ready to go. And so I can really see the proof in the pudding that these programs work. And in terms of the question specifically about diversity, one thing that we really work on is nurturing their specific ideas and their specific voices. And we have women from all different cultures and many from all over the world. And a lot of them have gone into other spaces, and I've experienced this too, where you pitch an idea and it's shot down right away, and people are like, no one wants to hear that, no one and there's no chance to see it to fruition, to develop it, to make it richer. If anything, maybe the urging is to water it down. And we've gotten told some pretty nasty things out in the world too, and so the combination of it being a safe space where you can test your material and we give feedback, and we really challenge people to take their ideas to the most thoughtful places and to hone their voices in the most specific ways. We want everyone to come out with something that is really distinct and really meaningful, and that they're clear about what their voice is out in the world. And I think that makes our program distinct from some other. Now, there's a bunch of diversity programs that do amazing things sort of in line with what we're doing. But in terms of why I think that part of it is important is just that a lot of times, even well-meaning folks, I think sometimes just kind of can't see it. They just genuinely are like, why would anyone like this? Or why, they don't know how to nurture the nuance out of something if it's not in their wheelhouse.
I absolutely think so. And as of this recording, we just finished Oscars night and everything. Yes. So what goes through your mind when you see some of the alumni say, hey, get notification, say, hey, I got this major job, or find that box office success, or are nominated for a SAG or for an Oscar or for a Writers Guild Award or Producers Award?
We're just so proud. Londi Majoro, who runs the organization, and I, that's it. We just feel so proud and excited and elated, when we see our women going on and doing incredible things out there. It's just, I think, again, because it's such a rich community as well, we love each other. And every cohort that's come through the lab, they themselves have really banded together. They crew on each other's films. They support each other out in the world. They introduce each other. They network together. They do become, a sisterhood that they can lean on beyond just that lab. And so those also have been really beautiful to see those relationships, continue to lift each other up and support each other.
And that's amazing too, because the power of your network is just absolutely amazing. Who knows, that one minute they could be 3 steps away to a Tyler Perry, or it's 3 steps away to a Bob Iger.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And they are some of them really, really are, and very well on their way, which is cool.
Awesome. So I want to talk to you about, so in addition to all that, let's talk about, because you and your husband, Demetrius Wren, own a production company, 2 kids with a camera. So what qualities do you and Demetrius look in collaboration? Because as of this recording, it's getting closer for high schoolers and college students to look for summer internships. So if you guys are taking any of them, what qualities in interns do you guys look for?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. We should look into internships more. We've done training programs like on-set learning. Demetrius taught at the University of Pittsburgh and had met like members of his class as well as from the community crew on his film Rehabilitation of the Hills. So they got to take workshops with him either in the community or at Pitt, and then learn by doing, because to your point, like it's an industry where you really do have to kind of get your hands dirty and be in the room. And when we are hiring and when we're looking for people, and even when we get interns with WOCF, like we want people who are go-getters and self-starters. I think a challenge is if people come in and they're just sort of like sitting and waiting, and then you do give them a task and they don't deliver it back. Like it's a fast-paced industry. If someone assigns you something and trusts you with it, like do your best and show up. And if you have questions, come ask questions, but don't just like sit on it and wait. So I think like spirit and work ethic in some ways more than having all the skill sets are what's most important for an internship and for someone starting out. And then you can learn those skills, you can, and that's what you're theoretically here for, right? So those things. So I think a spirit of desiring to learn and desiring to be a part of something and work hard. And I had people like when I've worked at other production companies and things that I hired as an intern, and like immediately you start bringing them on as a producer, as whatever, because you see that they have that self-starting nature. So I think work ethic, I think curiosity, creative ideas of how to solve problems. I mean, I think a lot of interns, what they bring to the table right now is a knowledge of like social media and current ways of communicating and marketing, and even just like visual styles. Like they're all on TikTok. I mean, this is stereotypical maybe, but I do think that like younger folks come in with a sense of like how to edit a social video in a really cool, compelling way, and to kind of bring those skills and then learn the other ones. You're offering something while learning high level stuff, like just finding where you can support and jumping in.
Which is amazing, because I've also benefited from 3 different internships in media and also student media as well in college. And I always recommend to people, if I even had the opportunity to do 2 times when X Factor was on the air, was able to be a production crew member as well. So I've learned a lot, and I think you can learn a lot if you intern or if you go at the beginning as a production assistant.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if anyone does want to, reach out either for Two Kids with a Camera or WOCF, we will happily do our best to accommodate.
Awesome. So we got to start writing down our conversation. So we got to talk about social media. So as you said, besides having potential interns that have done amazing things to work on helping you guys with getting your word out, what are some of your favorite platforms to use to help build the fan base, or to work with, like, to promote like WOCF or Film Labs?
Yeah, I am mostly on Instagram and Vero. I know, a lot folks might say TikTok and things are more useful. I can only handle like 1 or 2 at a time. It's a lot to keep up with. So I should probably one day hire some help with that, speaking of all these things. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram and on Vero. Vero is a cool platform where you are also sharing. In many ways, it's it's a culture, a place to share culture. I love this restaurant or this show, or I saw this really interesting documentary or heard this podcast. So if you're not on there, Jacob, it'd be a great place for you to network and be on board. And if you love DC, Zack Snyder's on there and a bunch of DC actors and things. So it's a cool place to engage. And they really nurture creatives. So they nurture filmmakers and photographers and always want to, highlight their work, and other artists, jewelry designers, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a great place for artists and creatives to connect and engage with each other. And then, I'm on Instagram to kind of share and engage on a broader level.
Looks like I got to get interested into Vero. So thank you so much for pointing that out, Christina.
Absolutely.
All right. So the final question: are you ready?
Bracing for it. Give it to me. Yeah.
Alrighty, so it's a multi-parter, Christina.
Okay.
So where can my audience be able to watch The Witcher, Sirens of the Deep? Where can I be able to see episodes of Will Trent? And also where can I find out more information of the Women of Color Filmmakers? And also find out more information about Two Kids with a Camera, and of course connect with you on social media.
All right, let's jump in. Women of Color Filmmakers, you can find us at womenofcolorfilmmakers.org. Please come and reach out. We're also on Instagram. I think it's just at Women of Color Filmmakers. I'm at Christina Wren. You can, through my handle, find WOCF as well. My production company is Two Kids with a Camera, and our website, you spell it out, TWO kidswithacamera.com. We're also on Instagram, a little less active, but we're there. And you can find Will Trent on ABC and Hulu. Most recently, you can catch me in season 3, episode 7. Some crazy stuff goes down for Caroline, so be sure to check that out. And The Witcher is on Netflix. So yeah, give us a little peek. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? I'm on social media too. Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And want to find out all my thoughts on Batman, Superman, anything DC related, all my past interviews, past coverages of Planet Comic Cons, visit jakes-shake.com. The blog started all, jakes-shake.com. Christina, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me. I had a fabulous conversation with you.
Oh, thank you so much for making the time. It was great chatting with you.
You're so welcome. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.